Okay, so welcome officially to both of you to another Art of Letting Go live session. We're going to be talking today about how we can perceive only one reality rather than various distorted versions, fragmented versions of reality. So we'll start off by, as usual, diving into our quote for the day. Let me share my screen with you. If you can read that for us. Either Archie or Elaine. Okay, there we go. And share my screen. All right, so if you can read that quote from Marianne Williamson, who, as we know, is a well-known course teacher. Either of you?
Mm-hmm. Shall I read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Excuse me, sorry. Love is what we were born with. Fear is what we have learned here. The spiritual journey is the relinquishment or unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts. Love is the essential existential fact. It is our ultimate reality and our purpose on earth. To be consciously aware of it, to experience love in ourselves and others, is the meaning of life.
Yeah, very well said. It's a lovely quote. From her book, A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles, which was probably the first book that really put the Course on the map.
Yeah.
It was written, I think, late 70s, published late 70s, early 80s, and then Oprah Winfrey got hold of it, invited Marianne on her show, and the whole thing really got going as a result largely of Marianne's book about it. And then there's obviously been other teachers. I mean, she was the first one who really popularized it.
Yeah.
And what she's saying here just highlights the dichotomy between fear and love that we must choose between by letting go of or unlearning what we've learned from fear. And that automatically allows love or abundance to return to our awareness. So it's an undoing. It's a letting go, an unlearning of the old to invite the new in. So the formula for experiencing divine or unconditional love or abundance consistently is really very simple. Step one is simply train your mind to become increasingly aware of any fear. So interesting, we look for the fear, and in this case, fear is a general term that Yeshua uses in A Course in Miracles to refer to any negative, limiting, contracted thought or emotion that blocks your pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance. So it's a one term for anything that's of the ego, that's not true, that then by definition you need to let go of. Once you become aware of it, oh, okay, this is fear, I'm aware of this, then step two becomes obvious. Just let it go, right? You're aware of what it is, you're aware it's not helpful, it's not what you want, it's not what you choose. So let go of any form of fear, and that can show up in many ways. It might be anxiety, worry, that's obvious fear. It might be anger, frustration, that's another form of fear. It's just it seems to be we call it anger, or it might be jealousy, or it might be guilt. They're all forms of this block to the awareness of love's presence, this negative thought system of the ego that the Course labels fear. He also calls it the ego, but he uses the term fear quite a lot as opposed to love. So how do you cultivate the awareness that's required for step one and release the toxic thoughts and emotions in step two? That becomes the question. So that's where spiritual practice comes in. Doing the various spiritual practices that I recommend isn't just for fun. It's so that you can cultivate that awareness on a daily basis. So things like reading the daily messages, reflecting on them, uh, the related workbook lesson, the section of the text, all of that helps to cultivate awareness, doesn't it? It's bringing in new ideas, and you start to become more discerning as to what you're going to allow into your mind and what you're not going to allow into your mind. Before we have mind training, we just allow anything, really. Our minds are untrained, and it's pretty chaotic. Like anything goes. We can have all kinds of crazy thoughts, and most people do. If you don't do mind training, i.e., spiritual practice, then a lot of the time your mind is going to be chaotic, and you're just going to be thinking a lot of really unhelpful, negative things, and you haven't learned how to control that. And so these thoughts just run riot, thoughts and emotions, and this characterizes your life and populates your whole reality with various iterations and versions of negative thinking or blocks to awareness of love's presence. And that's probably the way most people live, mostly in the negative awareness of the ego, with maybe these small moments of relief interposed, which often then become addictions. I get a bit of relief from watching TV or smoking something or drinking something. So just give me the relief, and then temporarily they feel better. But then they return to their normal dysfunctional state of mind, which is suffering. And so the way out of that on a permanent basis is through this disciplined spiritual practice. Reading is important because that creates space and time. Apart from what you're learning, there's also, okay, I've got to just take some time out and read and reflect and slow down. Not just go to 100 miles an hour and busy myself with the next thing that my mind can latch onto. I've consciously chosen to read this. Great thing to do early morning, in the evening, just slowing yourself down, creating some space. And related to that is the space and time for meditation or breath breaks. So longer meditations in the morning give you 15, 20 minutes. You really just create some spacious awareness in your mind and in your life. As soon as after you wake up in the morning, before bed in the evening, as a preparation for bed, great thing to do to facilitate better sleep and to prepare you for the day ahead. So like I don't miss a morning meditation. I missed about week 2 ago, like I missed one. I did it later in the day, but I definitely felt a difference. I was like, yeah, it's not quite as locked in, not quite as flowing. Because what's the difference? Well, I didn't do my normal sort of hour and 20-minute morning meditation. That's the difference. And so I'm not quite as locked in and zoned in as I would be. And it does make a difference to your immediate quality of life. If you do it, you feel more connected, more flowing. And if you don't, then there's a little bit of a disconnect. Now, once it's not really a problem, like you can manage that. But if you start doing that repeatedly every day, you start disconnecting, and then you allow the ego to creep in. And it doesn't really need a second invitation, does it? So, if you allow it in, then it's going to come in full force, and one thought becomes a series of thoughts, becomes a series of thoughts and emotions, becomes a mood. You know how it goes, and suddenly, why am I feeling actually quite unhappy or quite depressed? Well, because I've allowed one thought to multiply and become a mood. That's why, because I didn't have the vigilance to identify it and let it go straight away. And that's the time in meditation is the time to deal with and process those negative thoughts. And then also the shorter breath breaks are important, because just saying, look, it's probably going to be too long to go from morning to late evening. So it's maybe 12 to 15 hours, depending on how long you're going to stay awake, without anything in between. So take these practice periods in between, and you may as well do some breathing with them as well, hence the idea of the breath break. So you practice the lesson, you're doing the mind training, and you're doing some breath work, which physiologically calms you down. It's very good for the whole mind-body system, activates parasympathetic nervous system. So it's going to help you to get into an altered state so that those mind training ideas are gonna land more deeply. You're gonna have a better experience. And so getting into a practice of doing that creates gaps and breaks in your daily routine. So you're not just going, working. Research has shown that the most effective way of working is go concentrated work for quite a short time, actually, anything from 25 to 45 minutes. And then you take a break for at least 5 minutes, and then you go again. And, research has shown in industrial settings that workers who took something like nine breaks of 9 minutes through the day were more productive and more effective than those who just had one long break at, let's say, lunchtime and a tea break in the morning and in the afternoon. Even though they spent the same time, they were more effective by staggering the breaks. And then finally, the live sessions, because this is a deep dive. This is an immersion. I probably don't need to tell you. You can Preaching to Convert It because you're here. But for those who may be listening to the recording, this is a deep dive and immersion into these principles, which we study in depth. We discuss them, we read about them, we discuss them, we meditate on them. And I think at the end of a 3-4 hour session, there's something shifted, isn't it? There's a feeling of really gone through an experience and deeper into these teachings than you would have if you just read it on your own for 5 minutes. I mean, it's kind of logical, if you invest that, it's spending the time with these ideas and allowing them to start absorbing into your mind, giving yourself the time and space for these to sort of percolate in. This is not something that you do on a speed reading kind of basis. I definitely wouldn't recommend speed reading the course. It's more like you read and you reflect and you contemplate and you give yourself the time and the space to do that in your meditations and in these discussion sessions. There's a kind of a meditative quality to it. Although we're speaking or engaged, you're in this little cocoon. Nothing else matters. You've got your phone off, presumably, and the outside world just fades away for 3 hours, 4 hours. That's a little meditative space we've created where we can go in and we can really explore all of these profound principles. So if you're doing all of that, then both of these 2 steps are going to become easier to do. First of all, it's to train your mind to become aware of the negative. And that's actually the course's approach. It's saying you've got to become aware of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence before you can let them go. So you've got to be vigilant for those, and you've got to notice those. Awareness is the start, and then a decision to let those blocks go once you've identified them is step 2. Again, that's as important as step 1. There's some teachings that say awareness itself is enough. You can just go into awareness and naturally in that higher awareness, fear will dissipate. The course is saying, no, you need to apply right-minded judgment or choice. So you have this awareness, you're aware of what's true and what's not, and then you actively make a choice against what's untrue, and you let it go, and that may mean a conscious decision. It might mean focusing on your breath to stop thinking about it. There's various ways of doing that, but I think the emphasis on step 2 is that you're making a choice, and that choice is important because the more you make that choice, the more you're deciding against the ego and its thought system. And each time you make a choice against it, you undermine it, you weaken it. And so if you keep doing that over your life, the idea is eventually the ego just goes away because you've chosen against it so often that it just ceases to have any existence and any power in your life. Makes logical sense. We got into it by choosing wrongly. We're going to get out of it by choosing correctly. And that's what the course calls right-minded judgment. Again, that can be overlooked by some teachers. They don't really go into that. They just talk about awareness. But that is a big part of the course's teaching, that you must judge right-mindedly and make decisions accordingly. And ultimately, it's a choice. And that's really the theme of today's workbook lesson. So that leads us quite nicely into that. So any comments, questions thoughts on any of that? Should we just dive into the lesson?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all good.
Okay. Elaine?
Yeah.
So, just briefly, Archie, given you've been in the program a few months, so is this program of the reading, the meditations, doing the live sessions, is it in your experience working to help you to do step 1 and step 2?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and also like you said, I mean, like this morning I spent a little bit longer. So I read the lesson, today's lesson this morning, and I also went back to the the Course in Miracles book as well. And definitely I think today, flowed so much better than other days, because I think I spent that time, this morning, reflecting and contemplating and, sort of meditating. So
The more you do that, the more you go, well, why wouldn't I do it every day?
I
Because
know, yeah.
it gives me a better experience of my day. It's not
Yes.
a long-term reward. Yeah, obviously you're working towards your ultimate awakening.
I was fortunate though
Salvation.
today, Jonathan, because I actually had the time this morning. So other days of the week I have quite a full kind of daily schedule, so I don't actually have the time, but I will always make sure that I do, even if it's just a 6-minute, meditation. But today I was really fortunate that I actually had, a freer morning, so I was able to, spend, more time on it. So yeah.
Oh, well, I'd say, try and make that time. I make it I'm also, busy, lots of stuff going on, but I just go like, I'm going to do my meditation no matter what. Even if I have to move a meeting, like I'm going to do this meditation because it's probably the most important part of my day. So I just don't skip it if I can absolutely help it, because it sets up the whole day. And then the more you do that, the more you are reprogramming yourself on a deep level. This thought system gets inculcated into you on a very deep psychological level, which is important, because when the chips are down, let's say a crisis comes along, you need to have this at a deeper level and a shallow level. Otherwise, it's not going to stick. It's the idea of you building your house on rock. And you do that with time and spiritual practice. By spending more time on it, it just starts to percolate in. It's like the message just goes in and goes in and goes in again. And you're literally reprogramming your subconscious mind, which is quite an undertaking, because we know the subconscious is exactly that. It's beyond conscious awareness, and it's a bit of a mystery. And how do you actually control this? Well, you do it by doing these spiritual practices over and over again in an altered state, which we call meditation, which the meditations and the breath work bring about. And then the message starts to stick, and something starts to shift on a deep internal level that's subtle, but it's very profound. And you go like, I have actually changed quite a lot. If I think of, where I was 20 years ago, I've changed a lot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh, wow, suddenly epiphany, major, it was more like subtle, gradual, every day, just chipping away with the occasional, like I went on the Vipassana retreats and had an amazing experience. Occasionally you get those, but mostly just day by day, just chipping away, just reformatting, just rewiring yourself into this new way of thinking, the Holy Spirit's way. And that's going to take some time, because you think how long it took you to get wired into the ego's thought system. It's going to take, as long, maybe even longer, to undo all of that. And so the spiritual practice is exactly how you reprogram your mind. It's essentially taking a faulty operating system and reprogramming it and cleaning up all the bugs, and that's what you're doing when you do spiritual practice. If you think of it that way, then that's debugging the system. And essential, if you're going to install another operating system, it's essential work. It's not going to happen in an instant. It's going to happen in time, over a long period of time, just continuously, meditating, reflecting on, contemplating the ideas, and applying them in practice. So it's not just academics. Okay, so I've got a test come up. I'm feeling triggered. All right, this is my chance to practice. these principles and apply them. Your forgiveness opportunity or lesson, which is exactly what the situation's for. It's to test you and to test your knowledge and see, can you actually apply this and do it? And if you do it, then you've really learned it, haven't you? Then you're okay. I'm actually applying this, not just academic and theoretical. I'm actually living these teachings, and they are making a difference in how I'm thinking and feeling, and the decisions I make and the actions I take. So genuinely life changing. That genuinely changed the way I live. Okay, so having said all that, let's dive into the lesson then, shall we? It is impossible to see two worlds, is this one, which is related to the previous ones about I don't perceive any value in this world. So lesson 128, not value what is valueless. In fact, let me just go into those. So it's a continuation of. Let's just go into that. I'll bring up. What is it? Lesson 128. So this is a continuation of lesson 128. The world I see holds nothing that I want, which is quite a lesson. I mean, that's quite an idea. Holds nothing. There's no exclusive. There's no like, well, there's some things that I like. No, it holds nothing that I want. So everything I think I value here, this is saying, think again. Don't value it. And he goes into the reasons why. So if you value one thing in this world, then you have to value it all. And then beyond this world, there is a world I want. So if we only think that there's one, that there's nothing to value here, we'll be depressed. But if we remind ourselves that there's something much greater that we really want beyond this world, then the seeming price or cost of letting go of the things that we value isn't as great, because there's something far preferable, a reality that's just loving and peaceful and joyful and always the same. We can really rely on that and count on that. So these are the precursor lessons to this one. It's the third in a series that is really about letting go of all value in the world, which not easy. These are not easy teachings to follow, are they? But that's why they're so powerful. All right, so let's go into that one. Let's just find it. Actually, too many tabs open here. Not that one. Sorry. Find this. Close that. Going to close that. And see if we can actually find my messages. Okay. Where are we? Let's go file. Let's go. Lesson 130. There we go. Okay, so you see the screen. Let's dive into the lesson then. Lesson 130. Archie, if you want to read the original, Lane the alternative.
Yeah, it is impossible to see two worlds.
It is impossible to perceive two realities.
So I've just changed worlds to realities because that's really what the worlds refer to. This world is a reality, the physical universe of time space is a seeming reality, but there's another one, and it's impossible to perceive two of them simultaneously. We can vacillate between them, but we cannot perceive two realities simultaneously. That, by the way, is actually a picture of the Twin Towers. So I thought it was quite appropriate for because you've got the form over there, I think that's Empire State Building, and then over there you've got this emptiness, this light, and it just juxtaposes them. It's like, well, when a form departs, we know what happened with 9/11, but when a form departs, what it leaves behind is an emptiness and a spaciousness and an opening into another reality, which we always need to be aware of. Okay, so someone want to just read those comments in the slide, kindly given us to our friend Kat. Elaine, why don't you read those, given you introduced me to him?
The selective perception of loving thoughts enacts only a world of love. What you value, you must want to see, believing what you see is really there. Accord this value, want it. No one can see a world this mind has not accorded value, and no one can fail to look upon what he believes he wants.
So while we're in the world, he's asking us to give value to the eternal, to give value to the light beyond this world, and that changes our perception of the world. So instead of being bound by all of its laws, symbolized by the chains, and interesting, there's a bird there, so maybe that symbolizes freedom from it. So you're now transcending the world. You're looking from above the world and its chains as the bird symbolizing freedom, able to look on it but not value it. It's there in your perception, but you haven't really valued it. You've transcended it, and this allows you to access the light and start seeing this underlying reality or world that underlies the physical world, the material world. Okay, so perception is consistent. What I perceive reflects my thinking. So let's read this in the original and alternative, shall we? So Elaine, you want to read the original, Archie, the alternative? Kindly.
Perception is consistent.
Perception is consistent.
What you see reflects your thinking.
What I perceive reflects my thinking.
And your thinking but reflects your choice of what you want to see.
And my thinking only reflects my choice of what I want to see.
Your values are determiners of this. For what you value, you must want to see, believing what you see is really there.
My values are determiners of this. For what I value, I must want to perceive, believing what I perceive is really there.
No one can see a world his mind has not accorded value.
No one can perceive a world their mind has not valued.
No one can fail to look upon what he believes he wants.
And everyone perceives what they believe they want. So from the top, perception is consistent. What I perceive reflects my thinking, and my thinking only reflects my choice of what I want to see. My values are determiners of this. For what I value, I must want to perceive, believing what I perceive is really there. No one can perceive a world their mind has not valued. and everyone perceives what they believe they want.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Yeah, so so whatever it is that I value is what my thinking is going to sort of focus on. And then what I perceive reflects what I'm thinking about.
Have you noticed an example of that? Let's say you suddenly thinking about buying a new car and you're thinking of a certain model and a make. As soon as you do that, you start to notice that car.
Yes. Yeah.
So your perception has changed because of your thinking. Now, those cars were always floating around. You just never noticed them, so they weren't really in your reality. But as soon as you focus on them, it's like, oh, and another one, oh, and another one. And now suddenly, your reality starts to become much more directed towards noticing that particular make and model of car, and you get interested in it. And the more you do that, the more that comes into your reality.
Yeah.
And that's how we literally create our reality.
Yeah. And then that's how synchronicities happen as well, because whatever you're focusing on, you then, things, happen to, relate to that. So it's
you then also, it's not just that those things are happening anyway. You also attract those experiences into your reality. It's like some kind of magnet effect. I mean, this is the true law of attraction. The more you focus on something, the more it's like, I saw a diagram illustration once, which I thought illustrated it quite well. It's like one of those pinball machines. And so you create the hole for the ball to fall into. The more you focus on something, the more you create a hole, let's say, in energetic terms, in the fabric of time space, for something that fits that to come in. So yes, let's use the example of the car. And now I really, really want the latest, greatest Porsche. And you start thinking about that and focusing on it and researching it and noticing it and so on. And you're starting to create that kind of hole in the fabric of time space for those kinds of thoughts to gravitate. It's a bit like gravitation. It just sort of gravitates into your field and it sort of drops into that hole that you've created. And obviously, the bigger the hole, the bigger the gravitational pull, the more that happens. So the more synchronicity happens.
Yeah.
And then, these things just drop in. Oh, I happened to just have coffee with the Porsche owner. And we had a half an hour chat, and he's telling me how great his Porsche is and he loves it, and but watch out for because that just starts to happen the more that you're in that frequency, and that's the real law of attraction, and that's actually synchronicity or miracles. It just starts to happen, but it's kick-started by your conscious thought process. What are you consciously focusing on or valuing? And then that's what you draw into your perception. So that's really all he's saying. We kind of like, well, surely we know that already, but most people don't know it already, and they're certainly not doing it in a conscious, disciplined, directed way.
Yeah.
If your mind is chaotic and scattered, then you're going to bring that into your reality.
Yeah.
So we have to learn to control our thoughts. That is the most important. That is the foundation of any spiritual practice and awakening. You've got to learn to control your thoughts. And the various practices, techniques are ways of doing that. Learning to get a handle on, what can be really dysfunctional, crazy. I mean, we've all been there and done it in crazy, negative, dysfunctional states, and it's crazy stuff. I mean, it's the loony bin that's going on up there, and you've got to learn to not pay too much attention to those. Be able to just let them go, and if they come, you get a sort of random crazy thought. Just look at it and just know what it is. It's like that's just another ego nonsense. immediately you can see it for what it is, and that's your Holy Spirit coming in and yeah, giving it right-minded judgment, and just saying, yeah, that really doesn't deserve your attention or any time or space in your mind. And so you then let it go, and you just dismiss it by denying its value and denying its reality. And that process is called forgiveness.
Yeah. But then isn't it amazing how we've got a part of our brain, you know, that reticular activating system that, you know, that you know, kind of aligns with that, isn't it? You know, so what we...
That aligns with right-minded choice, or with the...
Yeah, with noticing, you know, with the awareness part, that whatever we focus on, we then bring into our awareness. And then it's like our brain has that reticular activating system that then makes us notice that thing even more. You know,
but it's the mind. Let's get precise with the language. It's really the mind. It's all mind.
Yes. Yeah.
The brain is just the organ that allows us to translate sense perceptions, data coming from the outside world, and process it and function in a physical body. But you know, all of this is really happening in mind, on the mind level, and the brain is actually the servant of that. The brain reflects the changes in mind. So our brains are neuroplastic, as we know. The more we change our mind, the more we see the brain reorganizing and rearranging itself. Now, yeah, this is the question that modern neuroscientists ask now. Like, does the brain create our reality, or does the mind create the brain function? Is there something else going on that is changing our brain? And they debate it endlessly, and there's no clear answer. But you know, from a Course in Miracles perspective, Jesus says, well, you think you have a body and you think you have a brain, and these are insane beliefs. You don't really. You know, the vehicle is not your true self or your true identity. It's the brain is part of the vehicle that gives you a physical experience, but that physical vehicle is not you. It's just a vehicle you ride around in for a while. The mind transcends the brain, which, if you look at research on near-death experience and so on, is logical. Well, there has to be something beyond the brain, because when someone dies, their brain ceases to function. There's no neural activity anymore in the brain about 15 seconds after someone's clinically dead.
Yeah.
And yet they can go and have this amazing near-death experience and have all kinds of experiences that they then come back and they report. But the brain was not functioning. There's nothing going on. So then clearly you're not just a brain. These kinds of experiences and consistent results are what confounds scientific materialists and neuroscience. You're trying to prove that reality is created by the brain. Well, then how is a near-death experience possible? Then it wouldn't be possible if you only had a brain and consciousness was created by the brain alone. Because once the brain's dead, then nothing should happen. But clearly something is happening. And people say, oh, they hallucinate. Well, okay, so then we're all hallucinating. The whole thing's a hallucination. You know? But the fact is, they had that experience. They come back and they report these profound experiences, and sometimes have profound healings. Like if you take what's her name? Wayne Dyer's protege. He'll come to me. Anita Moorjani. No, there's no doubt she had a profound experience. She had a near-death experience. She comes back, something shifted, and she heals of her cancer in a few weeks. Like that didn't just happen by accident. Something very profound internally happened, and she describes what that experience was. The neuroscientists and scientific materials struggle with this because it points to a reality beyond just the brain, beyond the body. That's just in mind, and that isn't reliant on the brain at all. I've spoken to someone who's had an out-of-body experience. Maybe you've read about them, met people who've had that. But literally, this guy was like, "Wow! Suddenly, I just went out of my body, and my consciousness is in the corner of the room, and I'm looking down on my body lying on a bed, and I'm going, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Like, where am I? Like, I've just left my body." So clearly, that kind of experience is possible. You can't be limited to a brain because the brain is still in the body, but his consciousness is somewhere out of the brain, having this, this view of himself. So what is seeing then? Is it the eye? It's clearly not the eyes that are seeing. It's the mind that's seeing. And maybe that's always the case. Maybe actually it's always our mind that's seeing. But we've got confused into believing that it's the physical senses and it's the brain, and that's all part of the ego's confusion. It's trying to convince us that we really are physical, and that that is what determines our reality. Now, the physical changes are going to affect the brain. The mind is going to affect the brain, no doubt. But is it cause or is it effect? That's the question. Is the brain causative or is the brain an effect of the mind? And that's the debate. And the Course in Miracles comes clearly on the side of no, it's all mind. Let's just have a look at this quickly. Integral model. So this shows it quite well in the 4 quadrants. The mind sits here in the subjective eye, interior experience that is subjective, that you can't see, feel, measure, or touch, but you can just experience it. And then the brain sits in the objective. Now, what neuroscientists who believe in scientific materialism are saying is that the brain creates your experience of consciousness. The brain creates your thoughts, your emotions, your memories. Without the brain, none of that would be. Spiritual teachings, on the other hand, say, no, this exists independent of the brain, and in fact pre-existed the brain and the body. In fact, this has created the objective material world. So this is primary, this is secondary, rather than the other way around. Now, you can see the obvious contradiction between the two philosophies. You can't believe in both. You can't say this is cause and this is effect, and then also believe that the objective reality is cause and the subjective experience is effect, because they contradict each other. One has got to be true, the other one's got to be false. And so that's actually a very current debate in neuroscience and in the scientific community as to like which one of these quadrants is actually the causative one, which is the most real one, and which is the effect. And there's still a lot of debate. In my mind, there shouldn't be any debate because the evidence that this is primary is so overwhelming. If you're willing, to look at things like near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, these various kind of spiritual experiences, which a neuroscientist might dismiss as, oh, that's all fantasy, you're deluded. Well, you're just dismissing scientific evidence, as Rupert Sheldrake points out. You can't just dismiss the evidence and say, oh, we just won't take that into account. That's not good science. That's not a good theory. You have to take it all into account and say, okay, so which theory now, matches the evidence most closely. Anyway, I've gone on and on about that. So we'll, but I just wanted I picked up on the brain mind, and that is a common confusion, brain mind confusion in a lot of people's understanding. Like, am I brain? Am I mind? Where does the seat of my consciousness sit? What's causative? What's effect? Again, it matters quite a lot, because if you think that the brain is doing it, then you're going to invent systems accordingly. So these interobjective systems, like say the medical system, then says, okay, well, your mental health is a function of your brain. So we're going to treat the brain, and we're going to change chemistry in the brain in order to influence your internal state. And then you have the whole drug industry, which comes into being. When actually you can change your mind and you can change your state, and then the biochemistry of the body will follow. Much more intelligent, much cheaper, much more efficient, but it's not good for business, because then you're producing all the chemicals yourself. You don't need to buy them. But you see how the commercial aspect then often manipulates and distorts the philosophy, and entrenches that. It's like, okay, well, you've got a lot to lose by believing in this, so we'll just deny all the evidence for that, because we actually want to continue believing in this because it suits our budgets and our cash flow. And then that's not truth, that's just commercial expedience. Okay, so let's move on then to number 2. Yet who can really hate and love at once?
Yet who can really hate and love at once?
Yet can I really hate and love at once?
Who can desire what he does not want to have reality?
Can I desire what I do not want to be real?
And who can choose to see a world of which he is afraid?
And can I choose to perceive a world which I am afraid?
Fear must make blind, for this its weapon is. That which you fear to see, you cannot see.
Fear must make blind, for this is its weapon. That which I fear to know, I cannot know.
Love and perception thus go hand in hand, but fear obscures in darkness what is there.
Therefore, love or abundance and true perception go hand in hand, but in negative awareness, fear obscures what is really there. From the top, yet can I really hate and love at once? Can I desire what I do not want to be real? Can I choose to perceive a world of which I'm afraid? Fear must make blind, for this is its weapon. That I fear to know, I cannot know. Therefore, love or abundance and true perception go hand in hand, but in negative awareness, fear obscures what really is there. Well, it's just saying it's a contradiction. You can't really love and hate at the same time. And love and abundance is our true perception. They go hand in hand. And the negative obscures it of what is actually really there.
Yeah, it's a veil of illusion. You know, the experience I had, the Vipassana retreat, was quite profound because it was so clear to me, having been into the state of pure formless awareness for a few minutes, that everything else was just an illusion, a veil that's been cast over that. So the entire physical world, all the thoughts, all the emotions that seem to be triggered by that world, that is the veil that's been designed to cover over that awareness. And then I really understood in that moment. I was like, oh, I get it. That's why it's called the veil of illusion. It's just covered it over. So that true awareness is always there, but now you have this cloak, this veil, which looks very dense and thick, and all these images that go on. But the world is just designed to trigger a bunch of negative thoughts and emotions, negative awareness, that then justifies the covering over of that pure formless awareness. And that's the simple truth. And that's why, as within, so without. You've got illusions in your mind, and then you create illusions externally that mirror those, and now the external illusions trigger the internal ones, and the internal ones project more of the external ones. So it's a game of projection and perception. We have this negative thought system. Let's make that a bit bigger. Negative thoughts and emotions, the ego's awareness, and then that miscreates the whole world. So we're projecting that out, and we're creating that for ourselves moment by moment, but we don't know that. So we now perceive it with these senses we've now given ourselves, and this equipment of the body that we've given ourselves. We now perceive it as real. And so we perceive our own projection as reality. That reinforces the very thoughts, emotions, memories, perceptions, states of mind that have created the projection in the first place. And so we go around and around and around. It just becomes this endless self-reinforcing, self-perpetuating system, which the mind gets caught up in lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. That's why it's so difficult to get out, because it reinforces itself. So yes, we're saying, but look, the way out of this is just let go of your attachment to the material body, anything in this world, because you then break the cycle. You're cutting the cord or the chains that bind you into the cycle of perception, projection, and perception. And you do that by changing your mind, changing your perception. Automatically, then you'll start changing your projections. You really start changing this, your projections on a subconscious level start changing. And when those projections start changing, you often see things shifting in your external world. Those are the synchronicities and the miracles and so on, which you can then perceive from this expanded mindset and go, oh, wow, like I can see how this is working. Wow, this is amazing. Like I'm seeing how this cycle between internal and external can work positively, can actually be used for my awakening and my healing rather than for my condemnation and damnation. Okay, does that make sense? Happy to go on to number 3.
What then can fear project upon the world?
What then can fear project upon the world?
What can be seen in darkness that is real?
What can I perceive with negative awareness that is real?
Truth is eclipsed by fear, and what remains is but imagined.
Truth or abundance is eclipsed by fear, and I only imagine what remains.
Yet what can be real in blind imaginings of panic born?
Yet what can be real in blind imaginings born of panic?
What would you want that this is shown to you?
What must I want to cause this to be shown to me?
What would you wish to keep it in such a dream?
What do I want to keep in such a dream? So from the top, what then can fear project upon the world? What can I perceive with negative awareness that is real? Truth or abundance is eclipsed by fear, and I only imagine what remains. Yet what can be real in blind imaginings born of panic? What must I want to cause this to be shown to me? What do I want to keep in such a dream?
Okay, thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's just asking, kind of, again, asking questions to sort of, get us to kind of reflect. So, so what, yeah.
Yeah. The questions are one of the best ways that he asks us to just reflect ourselves. We don't have to, okay, so if I answer that question honestly, and I come to the answer myself, then Jesus hasn't told me. I've arrived at that answer myself.
Yeah.
So it's a very good way of teaching. He uses questions a lot. So what can fear project upon the world? There is no fear. And so once I go to my awakened self, I realize there is no fear, and fear disappears, and I don't need to project it onto the world anymore.
Yeah.
It's done. It's over. That's the enlightened state. And what can I perceive in this negative awareness that is really real? Truth or abundance, as we translate it, is eclipsed by fear, and I can only imagine whatever remains. All imaginary. Future now becomes imaginary based on a fiction. A false self creates a false reality, a false future, all these thoughts and emotions that are completely false. Mind blowing, really. Absolutely mind. When you really get your head around this, it's like, oh my goodness. Like everything I thought I was, everything I I thought the world is just false,
Mm.
and therefore it doesn't have any true existence. It has a temporary, impermanent existence, and the Course is saying that's not true existence. That's not true life.
Yeah, and none
It's
of
a
it is real.
simulation of life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a false reality. It's a simulation. And it's not the ultimate
yeah.
reality. We've got to go through this process of letting go of the simulation in order to embrace the truth.
Mm.
All right. Should we go on to number 4? I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Fear has made everything you think you see.
Fear has made everything I think I perceive.
All separation, all distinctions, and the multitude of differences you believe make up the world.
All separation, all distinctions, and the many differences I believe make up the world.
They are not there.
They are not there.
Love's enemy has made them up.
Love's enemy has made them up.
Yet love can have no enemy, and so they have no cause, no being, and no consequence.
Yet love or abundance can have no enemy, and so they have no cause, no existence, and no consequence.
They can be valued, but remain unreal.
I can value them, but they will remain unreal.
They can be sought, but they cannot be found.
I can seek them, but will never find them.
Today we will not seek for them, nor waste this day in seeking what cannot be found.
Today I will not seek for them, nor waste this day in seeking what cannot be found. From the top, fear has made everything I think I perceive, all separation, all distinctions, and the many differences I believe make up the world. They are not there. Love's enemy has made them up. Yet love or abundance can have no enemy, and so they have no cause, no existence, and no consequence. I can value them, but they will remain unreal. I can seek them, but will never find them. Today I will not seek for them, nor waste this day in seeking what cannot be found. So it's just talking about not sort of believing in the differences of the world, because they really are not there. And so it's just asking us to keep seeking for them, because you're wasting your time, because you're just not going to find it that way.
Yeah, remember the ego's doctrine is seek and never find the answer.
Yeah.
Seek and do not find, which is why it's so frustrating. To perpetually seek and never find the answer is ultimately going to drive us all mad.
Yeah.
But in that intense frustration can be born another decision. To say, well, maybe, just maybe I'm looking in the wrong place.
Mm.
Maybe I've got to question this idea that somewhere out there, outside of me, lies what I want, lies happiness and peace and the life I want. Maybe I've got to question that assumption, because it is an assumption. We usually only do that because we've suffered, because we've been disappointed, we've been disillusioned. But then I think it's a Zen saying, that says, complete disillusionment must precede enlightenment. Makes complete sense.
That's a
You
good
can't
one.
be enlightened unless you're completely disillusioned. All illusions now gone. But that process of disillusionment can feel painful, because everything that we think we valued, everything that we expected, that we thought the world owed us for some reason, all of that gets questioned and ultimately let go of. And it usually only happens through disappointment. No one questions illusions if they seem to work. If you set your goals and you achieved every one of them, then hey, happy days. This really works. I'm happy. Why would I question it? It's only when you fail that you question. And so failure is actually our greatest gift. It's our greatest learning opportunity. Because when we fail and we suffer because we fail, then it shows you that you're valuing falsely. You're valuing the world still, and you're attached to some aspect of the world, and that's what you need to let go of. And that failure is the opportunity to look at that, correct your mind, let it go, heal a part of your mind that was unhealed, and take the next step in your journey of awakening. So can you see how this philosophy makes you incredibly resilient? Because difficulties, obstacles, challenges, failures, all of which are going to come in life, are just seen as a good thing, part of your spiritual awakening. They're not something to be avoided or resisted or lamented. It's like, well, okay, well, this is exactly what I need to learn, so bring it on. Correctly perceived. But it takes a while for us to get that. When we start on this journey, oh yeah, all sounds good, forgiveness, happy days, hey Chihuahua, I'm going to the light, it's so amazing. And then of course the disillusionment process has to start. Usually that starts quickening. And then people are like, I didn't sign up for this. I thought it was all going to be happy and lovely and joyful. And now what you thought was that you could go to heaven with your ego intact. That's what you thought. And that's wrong. You can never do that. There's no way it's possible to go to pure formless awareness with a separate self. So we kind of want to have the spiritual ego is wanting to have your cake and eat it. I want spirituality. I want the light. Lovely, but I don't want to let go of my ego to do it. And there's an evident contradiction there that is going to cause you pain until you resolve that contradiction. And that's simply a decision, as he says. Just don't value anything the world has to offer, and then the contradiction's resolved. But is that really the case, or are there these values still lurking there? And you only know when you get tested. The other day he was saying, actually, I can't believe how upset I was about something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I
can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
Yes.
It was to do with food, right? Because the food didn't match.
That's right. My disappointment at that meal. Yeah.
Over the meal and so on. And so when you experience that disappointment and you feel that emotion, that is a sign that you're still attached. A part of your mind is still attached and giving value to the world.
Yeah.
And so then that just highlights what you need to let go of in order to be free of that. And if you fuse the situation for that purpose of letting go, then it doesn't need to happen again. The next time it happens, you go, oh, I've dealt with that.
Yeah. That
attachment is broken because it's just an idea. And it's amazing that ideas can cause us so much grief. Well, it's just an expectation you have in your mind.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah, okay, so on the physical level you had food, but food it wasn't poisonous, it didn't kill you. It just didn't match an expectation, a prejudgment that you had of it. It should be this way and it's not this way. Yeah. And so now because of that, I'm going to suffer. It's when you really analyze that process, it's bizarre.
Like, it's completely ridiculous. When you when you
really break it down, you go, that's crazy. You're just making yourself suffer through this expectation that it should be some way that it's not. You're resisting reality and you're just losing the game of life all the time. But it takes higher awareness to break this down and see it clearly.
Yeah.
Most people don't, and they just live this way, and they just accept that the ego's expectations are normal, and this is how it is, and there's no other way. And so yes, there's always going to be a degree of suffering because your expectations are very, very seldom met in this world.
Mm.
You know, how often do you go, yeah, it met all my expectations? Like, it just doesn't happen most of the time
Mm.
because life happens differently. Things go and they happen a different way. So you're either going to try and make life meet your expectations. That's the ego's way, which is a very painful way because you can't. You can try and try and try, but it's never going to meet all your expectations. Or the better way, the spiritual way, is just let go of your expectations. Just go. Surely that, you know, that's obvious. That's common sense, surely. But apparently not so.
I really struggle with that though.
Well, most people do.
Yeah, yeah, because then it's like, you know, but maintaining certain standards, though, you know, that's the thing. It's like, because you know, because I've done so much work with Tony Robbins as well, you know, you know, he teaches about, you know, high standards and that kind of it.
But if your high standards are making you suffer, then maybe your high standards aren't worth it.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
If it's creating suffering,
yeah.
If you have so you have the standard of love because you know this is you have to have discernment. You can't. All things are not equal in this world. You have to choose between the two thought systems and the two worlds.
Yeah.
The key thing is when the ego comes calling and you see it, and you go, "Oh, this is outrageous. This shouldn't be happening." No, that's where you've got to drop your judgment and go, "No, this is just the world of the ego. It's the ego again. I'm in the ego's world. Well, yeah, this is going to happen. It's going to happen repeatedly, but I don't have to believe in it. I don't have to make this important, real. I don't have to suffer because of this, because ultimately it's illusion. What I'm being shown here is just illusory. It's not even real. And it's such a relief when you can really just reflect on any person, place, circumstance, event, situation and go, I don't really have to worry about that because it's not even real. It's just part of a movie. That's all. I'm just caught up in this ridiculous movie. And the movie's going to be over at some point, and none of it will matter at all. It's just images being projected onto the screen of time space by this mind that's out of control. Now, you know, if I make those images real, then they're going to mean something to me. I'm going to suffer. But if I just see the images for what they are, just projections of an insane mind, then I don't need to value them and I don't need to suffer. So my standard is still love, but I don't need to suffer because of it. When your standard is, I expect it to turn out this way, then you will suffer. Yeah. So I think you need to be very careful about what you mean by standards.
Yeah.
Is a standard an expectation, or is a standard a spiritual principle of love? You say that's true and anything else is not. But given that you're living in the world of illusion, don't be surprised when you get a lot of unloving things showing up, because that's the nature of this world. So why would you actually expect it to be anything different? If the ego created this world, why would you expect anything different? Actually, it's deluded to expect anything different. You should just expect, well, the world of separation is going to breed what separate. It's going to give you what separation does. So we look at this diagram. Separation leads to guilt and fear, sin, attack thoughts, all of that's projected out. You end up as a helpless innovator, little life, a little victim of the world, limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, and death. That's what the idea of separation brings. So why would you expect anything else? Is it realistic to expect always to have love and light and peace and joy in a world that's made by the ego? No, that's a completely unrealistic expectation, isn't it? That's deluded.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of get a bit real with ourselves and just kind of wake up and, you know, smell the coffee, as they say. Just go like, okay, so this is how this world is, and that's why Yeshua gives us, you know, a fair dose of what I call stick lessons. We're saying, you know, the world is a dream. Some of them go into graphic detail about how horrible the world is, because he has to get us to see it for what it is. And, you know, pull off our rose-tinted glasses and just really look at it and see it for what it is, for all the insanity, the chaos, the ugliness that it is, and see that that thought system is never going to work to bring us peace or happiness. That's really the only point. We have to come to our own realization, okay, this just isn't going to work ever. It's never worked so far in 15 billion years. So why do I think it's suddenly going to start working in my little tiny lifetime? And so this is part of the essential part of the awakening process, is we have to become completely disillusioned with the ego and go, this is just a nightmare. This is a terrible thought system. It's awful. It's a shit show. It's whatever you want to let. It's not reality. It's not functional. It's insane. It's chaotic. I cannot believe in this and have any chance of being happy and peaceful. And only then will you say, okay, I've got to let the whole thing go, you see. That's why he's got to give us the whole picture of it. And that's why he doesn't pull his punches. Because if you kind of sugarcoat a bit of and you say, well, that part of the ego is not so bad, it's kind of okay. We can kind of live with that. All right, we'll accept that bit. What you're really doing is you're denying spirit and you're accepting the ego's thought system entirely. It's all or nothing with us. You can't accept a bit of separation and go, well, I'll just cherry pick the bits I like. It's an all or nothing. If you accept separation, then you have to accept all of it: the guilt, the sin, the fear, the attack, limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, death, shall I go on about all the negative consequences? All of that. The moment you accept any one part of the thought system of separation, you accept all of it. And that's what Yeshua is trying to teach us. You accept a bit of it, you have to accept all of it. Is this really a choice you want to make? Or are you willing to just let it all go, which is the only sane choice to make, and choose oneness, your original self, exclusively? And that's why it says that, I cannot perceive two worlds, two realities, because I'm going to be perceiving from the ego's perspective or the Holy Spirit's perspective, and they don't meet. They don't marry up. There's a choice to be made. So your standard then is unconditional love, and you interpret everything according to unconditional love, which looks like in this world, well, I'm not going to get upset about it because it's not really real. I'm just going to go into my mind and find this peace and this love and this joy that's already there.
Yeah.
So that's how you apply the standard, not by judging the ego and saying, oh, this is terrible, that this shouldn't be happening. Oh, woe is me. Why is this happening to me? That's just the ego maintaining its existence by resistance. Remember, what you resist persists. The Buddha called it aversion. So when you averse, trying to avoid something, you're saying, I wish it could be different. You see, it's another version of craving. I wish the world could be a different way. I wish that this wasn't the case. I wish it wasn't happening this way. But it is. So that's dysfunctional. That's what's happening in the so-called reality of the world. So wishing it otherwise is only creating pain and suffering, because you're now resisting what is. And there's only one loser in that. That's you. The reality doesn't care. That continues as it is. People, places, circumstances carry on doing what they're doing, but you are suffering internally because of your resistance. So that's another form of craving or desire the Buddha pointed out. So can you see the deep, really common, but such common sense wisdom that people like the Buddha and Yeshua have? It's just like, well, they just see the system of the ego for what it is, and then they figure out how to find your way out of that system. Once you understand the system, and the way out becomes obvious. And that is in the practice of forgiveness, letting go, or in Buddhist teaching, they called it detachment, non-attachment. Same thing, same 6 of one, half a dozen of another, slightly different methods to get to the same result of a detached mind that sits here in this pure formless awareness of perfect love, the kingdom of heaven, Yeshua called it, the Buddha called it nirvana. Doesn't really matter what you call it, because it's beyond words. It's just a pure experience. This is what they say. When you say the finger pointing at the moon, that parable, the moon is this. This is the direct reality. The direct experience of this is the moon, and the teachings are the finger that points at it. So all these teachings and the Holy Spirit's reinterpretation, they all point to that, but they are not the reality itself. They're just pointers to it. It's important to recognize that. The map is not the territory. You're not going to get there by studying the map. You're going to get there by following the map to have the direct experience of the destination yourself. Okay. So let's move on then. We've got a slide to read. So Archie, if you can read that one.
That which you fear to see, you cannot see. You have chosen a state of fear in which you are afraid to see the real world, a world of love. This is why you are unable to see the real world. Fear has made everything you think you see, all separation, all distinctions, and the multitude of differences you believe make up the world. They are not there. They can be valued, but remain unreal. So you've got the world of fear, what you chose, value and fear. And then the world of love is what you really want. The world you see is all a piece because it stems from one emotion and reflects its source in everything you see.
Just reiterating what we've described here, but I quite like the illustrations.
I'm glad you explained, because I did wonder what the bird and the chain holding the world up, what that actually symbolized. So, yeah.
Well, that's my interpretation of it. I don't
Yeah,
know exactly what Cap meant, but
because I was looking at, because I was reading this morning and I was looking at it and thinking, I don't really get the picture. I thought, what is it? What is it, kind of showing me?
Yeah, well, I think that's sort of a higher awareness, and that would make sense. The
Yeah,
bird symbolizes freedom, flight,
freedom, yeah.
sitting on top of the world, like on a bird stand or something like that. I think that's the idea he's hinting at, that the world sits beneath you. You've risen above the world of fear, and on the one level, the bird is chained to the world, but on another, the bird can take off and
Yes.
fly free.
Yeah.
So yes, the bird could be chained to the world. That's one way of looking at it, but the bird also has the potential to just fly away.
Yeah.
Into the world of love, into the sunlight, which is high above that. So I think that it's the juxtaposition of the bird in its cage, chained, and then you've got the freedom sitting up here, symbolized by the light. So the bird would fly away into the sky and towards the light and be free. But as long as you stay in the world and you stay in fear, you are chaining yourself. You're the bird who's willingly chaining yourself into the world of fear.
Yeah.
And your values do that, right? It's your beliefs, what you value, change you to the world more effectively than anything else. Which is good news. It's bad news and it's good news. Bad news is, yes, you're bound by your beliefs. Good news is, you can change them. You can change your mind, so you don't have to value that anymore. If you let it go, you can free yourself from it. And if you do that systematically and progressively, you can start flying away from this entire construct and freeing yourself into this other reality that beckons you.
Yeah.
And that's just a choice you can make every moment, every day. You can make that choice. So that's the one thing the ego has not managed to do. It's tried its hardest, but you still have a choice here. So it can tell you don't have a choice, and there's only one way of perceiving things, and you've just got to follow the rules. We call those sort of systems, oppressive regimes and so on, can tell you that, but it's not true. Even in those kinds of systems, people still have a choice.
Yeah.
They don't have to follow that. They don't have to perceive things that way, even if they follow the rules on the level of form, because if they don't, they're going to get killed. They don't have to perceive it that way. They don't have to value what that system tells them to value. That's still a choice they have. So even, take Viktor Frankl in the Nazi concentration camps, a very oppressive system that he's in, seemingly hopeless. They're trying to control every aspect of the prisoner's lives, but they couldn't tell him what to think about the situation. That's a freedom that we always have. And so we always have choice. So no matter how bad things get on the level of form, we always have choice. And the ego cannot remove the power to choose again, which is your salvation. Because of that power, you can choose to be saved or awakened. And so because of that power, we never completely lost in the dream, because we can always change our mind. Okay.
Did we read 5, Jonathan? Did we?
That's interesting. Where is 5?
Yeah, that's why I just wondered. Yeah.
5's disappeared. Oh dear. We'll have to fix that. I wonder what happened to 5. Well spotted. Okay. Let's go into where was it? I'll find. And there was the birds, A Course in Miracles. Lesson 130. Oh, we'll fix this. Not sure what happened to number 5. Maybe it's sitting behind the image. It's impossible to see 2 worlds. Let's see, is there anything going on behind the image? Kind of drag that. No, nothing going on behind the image. Okay. So, well, thanks for noting that, Archie. Well, let's fix that. And then we'll do an alternative. Just the wrong place there. Okay, so let's read the original and then the alternative. Let's put that in gray. I'll translate it as we go in the alternative. I'm sure there's actually that much to translate, to be honest. It's quite a straightforward one. So yeah, Archie, if you read the original, Elaine the alternative, and I'll fix it as we go along if there's anything to change.
It is impossible to see 2 worlds which have no overlap of any kind.
Elaine?
Sorry, I'm reading. I'm speaking. I didn't realise I was muted. It's impossible for me to see 2 worlds which have no overlap of any kind.
Seek for the one, the other disappears.
When I seek for one, the other disappears.
But one remains.
But one remains.
They are the range of choice beyond which your decision cannot go.
They are the range of choice beyond which my decision cannot go.
The real and the unreal are all there are to choose. Sorry, the real and the unreal are all there are to choose between, and nothing more than these.
The real and the unreal are all there to choose between, and nothing more than these. And from the top. It's impossible for me to see two worlds which have no overlap of any kind. When I seek for one, the other disappears, but only one remains. They are the range of choice beyond which my decision cannot go. The real and the unreal are all there are to choose between, and there is nothing more than these to choose between. Just saying that you just choose one or the other. You choose one and the other disappears. You can't have both.
Which is quite refreshing. You know, there's not infinite choices here.
Mm.
There's only two choices. So it's one or the other. And we just get confused because we think there's a lot more choices. But the more you learn, the more you see there's only two choices. There's two thought systems.
Mm.
And you learn to distinguish between those thought systems. Saying, okay, so what, you know, which one is true, which one is illusion, which one is coming from the Holy Spirit, which one's coming from the ego. That process is discernment.
Mm.
Once we understand what's what, then logically we have the ability to choose between them, don't we?
Mm.
If we don't understand what's real and what's unreal, then how can we ever choose between them? So the first part of this mind training process is really about educating us as to, okay, what's real and what's not real, what's true and what's illusion. Once we can make those distinctions, we can then make choice. We can choose between them because we can identify the choices clearly.
Mm.
So that's the first part of this mind training is creating this awareness that allows you to make a conscious choice. And that choice is the essence of forgiveness. Without choice, there's no forgiveness.
Mm.
And he's just emphasizing that. So that, you know, there's only these two choices to make. And actually, it's when you see it clearly, it's a very, very simple choice to make. There's two choices. The one is hell, the one's heaven, the one's complete chaotic insanity, and the other one brings you love and peace and joy. I mean, is this a difficult choice to make, really?
Yeah,
Should
and
it be
then
difficult to make that choice?
yeah, and then also when you choose one, the other disappears. I like that bit as well. It's like so simple. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, choose one and it
Yeah.
denies the other.
Yeah.
So by
Yeah.
choosing the one, by denying the one, you automatically choose the other.
Mm.
So by denying the ego, letting it go, you automatically are choosing
Mm.
the spirit, and that's the way the course works. It's saying by denying the denials of truth, or letting them go, you are accepting the truth.
Mm.
So focus on denying the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. That's the methodology. Identify those, deny them, let them go through this process of letting go of forgiveness, and you will be systematically accepting the real, the truth.
Mm.
Has to happen because that's the only alternative.
Yeah.
It's a really, really, really simple idea and practice as a result of that simple idea.
Mm.
Very simple, effective practice. Okay, I just need to let go of the unreal as and when that shows up. That's going to happen daily. I'm going to be confronted with illusions all the time because I'm living in the domain of the unreal. I accept that. But I don't have to value it.
Mm.
So these circumstances, people, places, events, all the stuff that seems to happen, I don't have to value any of that if I choose not to. I can let it all go and be free.
Mm.
That's a choice that I have, that everyone has. Once you realize you have the power of that choice, your life changes.
Mm.
Suddenly you're like, wow, the power's back in my hands now.
Mm.
I'm no longer weak, vulnerable, afraid, living as a helpless, enervated little life in this illusion, because I've got power.
Mm.
I can change my mind and I can undo all of this, and I can embrace this truth of who I am and all the love and peace and joy and power that goes with that. And that's a choice that is available to me right now, every moment.
Mm.
That's massively empowering.
Yeah.
So interesting, many religions denied people the ability to make that choice. They just said, well, this is the teaching, this is the truth, and you're born into original sin, for instance, and that's just the way it is. And so really denying their power of choice to a high degree, which of course keeps them enslaved, keeps them in the bondage of the ego, which is exactly the opposite of what the Holy Spirit wants to do. It wants to liberate the mind by exercising consciously the power of choice. That's essentially another way of saying it's about forgiveness. Forgiveness is the conscious exercising of the power of choice. Okay. So we did number 5 then. Happy with that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go on to number 6 then. Today we'll attempt no compromise where none is possible.
Do you want to read the original, Elaine? And
Yeah.
I'll read the alternative.
Today we will attempt no compromise where none is possible.
Today I will not attempt to compromise where none is possible.
The world you see is proof you have already made a choice as all-embracing as its opposite.
The world I perceive is proof that I have already made a choice as all-embracing as its opposite.
What we would learn today is more than just the lesson that you cannot see two worlds.
What I want to learn today is more than just the lesson that I cannot perceive two realities.
It also teaches that the one you see is quite consistent with the point of view from which you see it.
It also teaches that the one I perceive is quite consistent from the point of view from which I perceive it.
It is all a piece because it stems from one emotion and reflects its source in everything you see.
The world I perceive is fragmented because it stems from the one emotion of fear and reflects its source in everything I perceive. So from the top, today I will not attempt to compromise where none is possible. The world I perceive is proof that I have already made a choice as all-embracing as its opposite. What I want to learn today is more than just the lesson that I cannot perceive two realities. It also teaches that the one I perceive is quite consistent from the point of view from which I perceive it. The world I perceive is fragmented because it stems from the one emotion of fear and reflects its source in everything I perceive.
Okay, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my head around it. So trying to get the bit around, so you know that. So it's more than just a lesson that I cannot perceive two realities. I'm just trying to sort of
Yeah, just summarize it in your mind.
yeah.
It's actually quite a good practice. Yeah, so
Yeah.
summarize it
Yeah.
in your own words.
Yes. Yeah. So teaches that the one I perceive is quite consistent with the point of view from which I perceive it. So the emotion of fear makes me perceive a world that's broken.
What does fear stand for?
The absence of love or the denial of
Yeah,
love.
but as an acronym, you've probably heard this before.
Oh, the false expectation appearing real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. So I have these
Yeah.
expectations.
Yeah.
And then automatically I fear that my expectation won't be met. Have you noticed? The more you expect something to happen, the more fear there is. Oh, but what happens if it doesn't happen as I expected? Because now I'm really invested in the expectation, the outcome. Automatically fear arises. Or what if it doesn't happen the way I wanted to? Then I'll be disappointed. Then I'll be less than. So you see how desire and fear play themselves off against each other. Yes, desire, oh wow, that'd be amazing, but fear, oh, what if it doesn't happen as I want it to? All of which moves the mind away from its foundational state of peace, of calm, and into the ego's territory, where now the mind is turbulent. Desire, fear. Oh, yeah, I really want that, but oh, what if I don't get it? Push, pull, and then where's the peace of mind? Because the desire and the fear are constantly working on my mind, stirring up the sediment. There's a great Buddhist parable about, stirring the water with sediments in it, and then just, how do you make the water clear? Just sit and observe it.
Settle. Yeah.
And let it all settle, and eventually the clarity will come, because you stop the movement of the mind, stop stirring the mind around with fear and desire.
Yeah.
And so there's the Buddhist practice of non-attachment. Of Course in Miracles calls it forgiveness, or letting go of idle wishes and grievances, craving and aversion in Buddhist terms, idle wishes and grievances in Course in Miracles terms. It's the same thing. You see why these teachings are so similar. Yeah. Saying exactly the same thing. It's got different language and a different methodology of getting to the same point. The Buddha taught a breathwork practice and body scanning called vipassana as a way out of the mind. It's a way of quieting the mind and just going into that clear non-dual space of awareness. In A Course in Miracles, Yeshua has specific mind training exercises and meditations that do the same thing. Just a also a meditative approach, but just doing it in a different way. So 6 of one, half a dozen another. They're really saying the same thing, and I've no doubt that Yeshua had studied Buddhism. He would have gone, either went to the East, quite possibly, or he would have been exposed to those teachings, because there were trade routes. People did make the journey between the East and the West, and there was communication between India and so on, and Europe. Those trade routes were well established, had been for hundreds of years. So it was a difficult journey, because you couldn't just hop on a flight. It took you a few months, but it was possible and doable. So those teachings, people did make the journey. Those teachings would have been available to him in Palestine at the time. If he'd wanted to, he could have found people who could have done that. He could have gone to Egypt, which wasn't very far away, and learned a lot there. No doubt there were wisdom teachings and temples and so on. So he would have been exposed to this, and then you see, well, it's just the same teaching, really. It's just he had to frame it in a different way, because obviously it was a different culture, different language, and he was working within the Judaic system, the idea of one God and so on. So he had to talk to people in a language that would resonate with him. So he talks about God the Father rather than nirvana, because that was a more acceptable idea to people. They couldn't really probably understood nirvana, very few. But essentially the same teaching. Forgiveness or non-attachment, detachment, they're the same practice, the same process.
Yeah. Would you mind just kind of, so it's 4 that's getting me there. So it also teaches that the one I perceive is quite consistent from the point of view from which I perceive it. So is that saying that if I perceive from a place of fear, then fear is the result? Is that essentially what it's saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever so whatever my perception is what I will.
Yeah, from the point of view. So my mindset is separated. I'm seeing myself as a separated person, an individual. Then you're naturally going to be fearful. Yeah. Because you can't control this world. You're going to have expectations and desires, because your ego is going to set you up for that, and then you're going to be disappointed. time and again, and then you're going to have grievances. And so naturally, that world, that idea of separation and the separate self is going to lead to that kind of perception. If you have one, you're going to have the other, which is why all these great teachers are saying, well, look, go to the real problem. The source of the problem is this self-concept that you have in your mind. That's the problem. If we can address that, then these misperceptions can stop. And you can start finding genuine peace. And how you do that is you address those misperceptions as and when they arise. They happen, you confront them, you choose another way, you say, like, yes, I'm feeling upset, fearful, angry, whatever it is, but I know that this isn't true. I know that this is fear. I know that this is the ego. I know what this thought system is. I know what it does. And I choose again. I don't have to choose this. I can let it go, and I can find the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, that is underneath it or transcends it. And that's forgiveness. That process is what we call forgiveness. The Buddha called it non-attachment, and going within to find nirvana. It's the same thing. It's you detaching from this reality to go into another one, which is in your own mind. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let's move on then to number 6. Just read that. It's just preparation for our meditation. So, Archie, if you can read that, and then we can go into the meditation, if you like.
Okay. So 6 times today, in thanks and gratitude, I will gladly contemplate the thought that ends all compromise and doubt for 5 minutes and go beyond all my compromises and doubts, because they are all the same. I will not make 1,000 meaningless distinctions, nor attempt to bring with me a little part of unreality, as I focus my awareness on finding only what is real.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Only focusing my awareness on what is real, and not not worrying about anything else, or not trying to make or not bring any bit of anything that isn't real into
In other words, don't compromise. That's a very important point he's making here. Very tempting to compromise. Yeah, well, a little bit of spirituality, great. I get my little spiritual fix, but I'm not really willing to take that the whole way to its logical conclusion and let go of my ego, of the world entirely. And that's probably where most people are on the spiritual journey. A little bit of spirituality, a bit of feel good, that's really nice. But am I willing to go the whole way and just collapse the whole ego and be done with it? No, most people aren't, let's be honest. So they'll say, a teaching like this is too full on. Well, what do you want? Half on? Is that going to work? Like a half on, kind of half-baked reality? Half-baked teaching that's sort of a compromise? How's that really going to work then? Again, if you really analyze it, it's ridiculous. Because it's one or the other, right? It's truth or illusion. You're pregnant or you're not. You can't sort of be half pregnant. It doesn't work that way. So the mind tries to compromise in every which way it can, because that maintains the ego identification. But this is just saying, forget it. You can't. Just be really, really clear, and you cut with razor-like precision. You cut away the illusions.
Mm.
And then all that remains is the truth. So again, the sculpting philosophy, you taking the block of marble and you're cutting away everything that's not the true self. Eventually, the true self is revealed. But it requires you to be ruthless. You've got to cut away all of those edges that don't belong there.
Mm.
That's the letting go process. That's the no compromise. So, okay, so I can't hold on to this and also be true to myself.
Yeah.
So it's got to go.
Yeah.
And you have to be kind of quite ruthless and hard with yourself. There's a discipline to this. Because if you want to fudge it and you want to compromise, then you're not going to make much spiritual progress. You can delude yourself into believing, oh, and I'm so spiritual, and I know all this stuff, and I've seen this before. I had a conversation once. I might have mentioned it before, so forgive me if I have. Well, this chap who was quite learned, and we actually were talking about business. We got into spirituality quite quick, and he'd done it right. He'd studied A Course in Miracles, and then he said, "No, I'm of the alternative school of non-duality." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay. So what does the alternative school of non-duality say then?" Exactly. No, the alternative school of non-duality says essentially that both truth and illusion are both true. I'm like, all right. Well, actually, sorry to break it to you, but that is not the alternative school of non-duality. That is duality. Let's just be very clear here. You're believing in duality, so don't dress it up as the alternative school of non-duality. But you see how
and
the
it's
mind
also
will
very
go,
confusing as well, believing in truth and delusion.
Yeah, hugely confusing. And then someone who's
Mm.
not clear, a teacher like that comes along and says, no, I've got a better way. I've got an alternative way. In other words, you can keep your ego. You can go on a spiritual path, but you can keep your ego and keep the stuff you like. He was into Tantra, and, we know what goes with Tantra, sexual experiences and so on. And he was just, waxing lyrical about how amazing it. And I'm like, it's still just very temporary. It's just the body, and the body's going to die. So how can you say that that's more valuable and more real, or on the same level as eternal truth? Like clearly, clearly what you're saying is that you're attached to that experience, and you want a teaching that is going to allow you to maintain that attachment. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you will then find a teaching that's convenient, that allows you to fudge it and compromise because you want to maintain your attachment to that experience, and you still want that experience. You value it, in other words. That's what's really going on, if you're honest about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wasn't honest. And on that basis, actually, I was like, well, we can't really work together. Our philosophy is miles apart. We're talking actually about alternative currency. But because his mindset was all about separation, he said, no, we're going to have, the solution is to have multiple different alternative currencies. I'm going, but that's just separation. Like, actually, surely the answer should be one currency. Like, that makes so much sense. There's power in unity. There's power in using one currency, not multiple currencies. So I'm like, well, you see that foundationally, the thought system is different. And so everything is going to be different. We couldn't agree on the fundamental strategy of a business. So forget it. You can't work together.
Yeah.
And I said goodbye. I said, it's been really interesting. Thank you. But, no thanks. We just never gonna gel. So that conversation was quite useful in, discerning. And it also made me realize just how cunning the ego is in compromising. Here's a guy, very intelligent. He's studied the various teachings. He's done Advaita Vedanta. He's studied the course, but his ego has gone, oh, I don't like this pure non-dual approach because it denies me what I value. So I'm going to find a teaching that suits me. And he found there's always one. The ego makes up these teachings because it's convenient. There's many different belief systems, and you'll find something that fits your ego. But is it the truth? Is it really going to free your mind, or are you just spinning around on the hamster wheel, going round and round, kidding yourself that you're actually making spiritual progress, but you're not?
Yeah.
That's all. So we have to be pretty honest.
Mm.
That's second characteristic of God's teachers, by the way. When we get to it, the manual for teachers is honesty. We're very honest with ourselves
Yeah.
on this path and go like really, like what am I? Am I just compromising? Am I just fudging it? Or am I actually being really honest and holding to the truth here, no matter what, and making no exceptions? That's a big part of the course. No exceptions. There are no exceptions to this because the truth is true and illusion is illusion, and the exceptions are only a temptation to compromise in your mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not for everyone. Not everyone is ready to go as hard and fast and radical as this. But what you do get with a teaching like this is clarity. There's no fudging it. There's no compromise. At least you know what's true and what's not.
Yeah.
And so it avoids all of that endless seeking, confusion. You think you got the truth, but it's not quite working, and you're not sure, and all of that doubt. And you've been there over 45 years. You know what that feels like.
Yes.
No clarity. Like I'm kind of groping in the dark here. A little bit of clarity, and I think I've got the answer. And then, oh no, that's not the answer. Because again, I've got questions and I've got confusion, and I'm not sure again. And just when you think you've got it all together, then something happens, and you're like, no, like I really don't have it all together because I still don't understand.
Exactly.
My world's just been, the rug's been pulled out from under me, and it's all shattered, and oh my God, back to square one. I thought I had it. I thought I had it sorted, and I actually don't. And that's going to continue until you finally get to the truth, until you finally arrive at the truth, because the truth doesn't change and it doesn't waver. The truth will see you through any difficulty. It's not going to suddenly disappear on you. Suddenly, okay, so the truth doesn't work anymore. It's always there. You might be well challenged to let go of your illusions. It's not always easy to let go of those, but the truth remains true, and it remains your guiding light through all the illusions, and that comes with honesty and an unwillingness to compromise. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Like you have to.
Yeah.
So if you compromise, well, what do you really stand for? And when the ego comes calling and the winds come and the rains blow, as in Jesus' parable, what's going to happen? Your house is going to fall.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to know the truth, and you're actually quite weak at the core of it. You can't sustain anything. Whereas the truth can sustain against any amount of illusion. That's we've seen that demonstrated at a high level by people like Yeshua. The illusions came thick and fast at him throughout his ministry, and especially at the end. And he just went, doesn't matter. Truth is still true.
Yeah.
Not my will, but thy will be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to hold to this to the end, even if it takes me to my physical death. I will hold to this to the end, because rather that than compromise on the truth.
Yeah.
And that's the integrous way. Now, we're probably not going to be asked to make that kind of choice in our lifetime, but we must choose continuously, day by day, between the truth and the illusion. That's the choice that's given to us, and we must make, and we must just become better and better at making that choice without compromise and being a bit ruthless. There's an element of like, okay, I've just got to cut away what doesn't serve me.
Yeah.
Even if I think it does, and there's maybe a bit of nostalgia, and I think, oh, but that was nice, and that was quite a nice experience, and and I value that, and nostalgia is one of the hardest illusions to let go of, because it's still illusion, but it's dressed up as something nice. It was a nice experience. Yeah, okay, so you had some nice moments in your dream, but those moments didn't last. Those moments faded ultimately. So do those offer you more than heaven offers you? A little glimpse of a sunset, your first kiss, your your wonder when you were a child at getting a gift. They were nice moments, but if you're honest, they were so quick. They were so temporary. They came and they went so much. So we're hanging on to these little scraps. When what's given to us, when we let go of them, is a permanent experience of truth, a permanent experience of love and peace and joy and a bliss that is beyond this world. And that's what we sacrifice when we believe in one illusion. You've got to realize that. One illusion keeps you from that experience. So no compromise, no exceptions, no compromise. Just apply this in as disciplined and rigorous a way as you can. And you're not going to get it perfect all the time. You will make exceptions. You will vacillate. You will make mistakes. It's inevitable. But you can always come back. You can always reflect on it and go, okay, I see the mistake. I see the error. Right. Yes. And that's just going to reinforce my willingness to not compromise in future, to not make exceptions, because look at what that exception did. Look at the suffering it created for me and others. Okay, don't make exceptions. Just let it go and let the Holy Spirit make all decisions for you, which is then surrender to God. Not my will, but thy will be done. But that requires that you have to question every single value that you hold currently. Every single one. That's what Yeshua says. This course requires that you question every value you've ever held. Not an easy process.
No.
Because you've really got a soul search. You've really got to go, okay, so what do I really value? What do I really believe? Let me be honest with myself. Forget all the defenses that I make to other people. We posture and we defend. Oh, no, I don't really value that. No. Like in your quiet time, just you facing yourself in the mirror. Like, do you really value that or not? And, if you do, that's fine. Just accept it. Go, okay, yes, I'm still attached to that. I see it. Okay, I've got something to work on then. Yes, I can begin that letting go process right now by reviewing my experience, whatever it was that triggered this to come up. I can review that. I can let go of falsely valuing, of misperceiving, and I can find some peace right now. And if I do that, then I'm preparing myself for future moments where I might be tested in the same way, which you inevitably will. If there's a resonance there and you value something falsely, you can be sure at some point that's going to come up.
Yeah.
And you will be tested on that.
Yeah.
And it can be painful because that test seems like I'm losing something and it seems to be painful. But the truth is, you're just being shown an illusion that you need to let go of. And if you understand that process, then all things work for good, right? There's nothing that's happening that's untoward, that's out of alignment with truth. It's all happening for you, for your awakening. Especially when it all seems to be going pear-shaped. That's when you know it's really happening for you. It's all going pear-shaped. Oh my God, I can't cope. I can't handle it. I'm overwhelmed. I'm breaking down. I'm cracking up. Yeah, well, that's exactly what you need to do. The ego needs to crack and break down in order for you to awaken to who you are. That's exactly the process. So if life is stimulating that for you, then be grateful, because that's how your process of awakening gets accelerated. All right, so that brings us to the meditation, really, which I can guide you through. Shall we do that?
Yep, that would be great.
Okay. Any other comments, questions on the lesson? No, all good.
All good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just going. Where are we? Capacity, that's what I want. Okay. So just making yourself comfortable. Sitting with your feet shoulder width apart. Your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises. The chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind. And so begin your searching for this other world by asking for a strength beyond your own and recognizing what it is you seek. Say, I do not want illusions. And I come to this meditation emptying my hands of all the petty treasures of this world. Wait for pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance to help you as you say to yourself. Just breathe in again to invite this presence of love, the Holy Spirit, into your mind. So it is impossible for me to perceive two realities, two worlds or two realities. Therefore, I accept the strength, pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance offers me, and perceive no value in this world, so that I may awaken to my freedom or abundance. Just exhale on the truth of that. Just exhaling out, blowing it all out. The breeze of your breath. The nothingness that it really is. Lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And in the gap between breaths, just find this lovely, peaceful, calm state of mind, this stillness, pure formless awareness of perfect love, or abundance, we call it. It's the abundant awareness, the abundant life Yeshua spoke about. And you have it with you right now. It's not somewhere out there, outside of you. It's not in the future. It's not in the past. It's right here, right now, in your direct experience. So breathing in again and say it is impossible to see two worlds. and we accept the strength that God or pure formless awareness or perfect love or abundance offers me, and perceive no value in this world, so that I may find my freedom or abundance. It's impossible for me to perceive two realities. Say that to yourself gently. Therefore, I accept the strength pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance offers me. And perceive no value in this world. So that I may awaken to my freedom and abundance. So just breathing in and embracing this sense of freedom, this abundance. And sinking inwards to this experience of strength, of safety, peace, love, joy. As the lesson says, God will be there, pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance. Will be there, for you have called upon the great unfailing power which will take this giant step with you in gratitude. Nor will I fail to perceive its thanks expressed in tangible perception. And truth or abundance. I will not doubt what I will perceive, although it is perception. It is not the kind of seeing with my eyes alone I've ever seen before. It goes beyond just physical sight and physical senses. Know that perfect love's strength upholds you as you make this choice. So breathe this. So feel the strength within you. Feel this strength, feel this power. Breathing it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is immersed in this power beyond all powers. This is the power to overcome any obstacle, And if you find that temptation comes, your mind's wandering, going somewhere else, thinking about anything that's not here and now, other people, places, events, you notice any temptation, just be aware of it, breathe into it. Remember the limits of your choice. Tell yourself, I can perceive. Remind yourself that I can perceive only the unreal or the real, false or the true. Perception is consistent with my choice, and so I will experience either hell, a helpless, innovative little life, experience either this helplessness, this innovation, helpless, innovative little life, which stands for hell, limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, death. Or the choice is state of pure formless awareness, which is called the kingdom of heaven. So you cannot accept little parts of hell, of this thought system of helpless, being a helpless innovator little life. As soon as you do that, then you are indeed in hell. Dismiss any temptation, any fear, anxiety, worry. Need a little bit of help. Breathe in on this thought for value and remind yourself as you do that that it is impossible to see two worlds. I accept a little part of hell as real, as helpless innovator of the life, construct of it. I've put myself in. I have damned my eyes and cursed my sight. release of heaven still remains within your range of choice. Take the place of everything that hell would show to you. This situation, person, event, circumstance that's triggering you, that's tempting you to go back into the world of separation, of fear. Breathe in and just remind yourself that it is impossible to see two worlds. It is impossible to see two worlds simultaneously. It is impossible to see two worlds. So breathe in. I seek my freedom and deliverance. I seek my freedom and deliverance. Seek my freedom or abundance. My awakening. So this perception of the situation is not what I want. Breathe in on the truth of that. And just be willing to let it all go with an exhale. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Just breathe, observe the breath, and sink inwards, going a bit deeper into your mind, just going deeper and deeper, going deeper with each breath. Go beyond technique into the wordless silence that is the direct experience. This is the moon. And pointing at the moon all less, and now it's time to let go of the pointer, the finger, and just finding this deeper peace of God that surpasses all understanding, being called. And just surrender into that peace. Nowhere else to go. Nothing else to do. And just for a couple of minutes, allow yourself to sink into this peace of God, as it's been called, beyond all understanding, into the freedom, the abundance that is reality. Allow yourself to experience that directly. Your mind wanders, just watch the breath. Keep you in this nice, clear, calm state of awareness. And just observe the thoughts just drifting by like clouds in the sky. Thinking deeper and deeper, and inward, down, deeper, deeper and deeper with every breath. So just gently bringing yourself back now into an awareness of the body and the breath. Senses in the world. And on the count of three, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile, scan your mind. Just noticing thoughts, emotions, native body sensations going on, particularly if it feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. Notice these thoughts, these emotions, these sensations, very calm, detached way. Remind yourself that the release of pure formless awareness or abundance is always within your range of choice. You do not have to accept any part of this helpless, innovative life of victimhood and suffering as real. If you do that, you damn your eyes, you curse your perception. Perceive that you're a victim of a cruel world. So all you need to say, any part of the world of victimhood and pain, whatever form it takes, is, it is impossible to perceive two opposing realities. I choose my freedom, my abundance, and awakening. And so this is not what I want. And let it go. Letting it go with the help of your breathing. Blowing it all out. Letting it all go with the breeze of your breath into the nothingness that it really is. Just rest in this perfect experience for a few moments. Anchor the state in. So it doesn't matter what is happening in the outside world. It doesn't matter what temptations you're exposed to, what thoughts and emotions arise. All just temporary. Anchor the state in for the rest of the evening and on into tomorrow and your weekend. So it is said, so it is done. And exhale, just letting it all go. One more time, just finding peace, calm, tranquility in your mind. Intention to stay here in this lovely, free, abundant state, no matter what seems to happen the rest of today and on into tomorrow. You can always make a choice to let it go. Claim your true freedom or abundance. So it's impossible to perceive two opposing realities, and so I choose my freedom or abundance and awakening to this. And I want nothing else. Amen. So it is. So be it. That's what Amen means. So it is, or so be it. And so on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around. Notice how your perception is very calm, clear, aware. Should be feeling quite peaceful. And just look around and observe everything without judgment, in a non-attached way. At these sense perceptions, what you see and feel, touch, taste, smell, and hear, just arise and get this perception coming in, but the mind is calm and quiet and at rest. So just anchor the state in. It's a nice, clear, calm, free, abundant state. It's your true perception. It's beyond the world of victimhood and pain, the helpless, innovative little life the ego wants to condemn you to. Hopefully you got a glimpse of that in this meditation. You can hold on to this state no matter what seems to tempt you to go back into it. Use the lesson to help you do that. I wish you good practicing and much peace, love, joy, and freedom. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and of tonight's session.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, only a pleasure.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Ready for bed now?
Yeah, absolutely. 9 o'clock.
Yeah, well, it's a nice way to. It's in fact exactly what you should do. I was listening to a sleep
it's perfect. I
sleep
always,
doctor, and he's saying get into a routine where you do something relaxing. It's a wind down for the hour before bed.
yes.
And there's no better way to do it than a kind of a meditation, a bit of spiritual practice. And then essentially saying to your mind, okay, it's time to, you can switch off now, and this is preparation for bed, and
Absolutely.
go into a nice alpha state.
I always get the best night's sleep ever after our sessions, when we do. Yeah, I just go straight to bed and I just, fall asleep straight away. It's great.
Well, you've done 3 hours of spiritual practice to lead up to it. So, your mind is clear, calm. Hopefully you've dealt with any difficulties, any issues. You let them go in the process of the session.
Yeah.
And that's the state you want to go to bed in, where everything's just let go of. That's why an evening spiritual practice is so important, because you just clear the slate of the day. So I'm not going to go to bed with interbulated thoughts and emotions. It's a clean, clear slate, and obviously then you're going to sleep better, because if the mind is interbulated, we know often you struggle to go to sleep, or if you do go to sleep, your sleep is disturbed, interrupted, you wake up, you have dreams, and so on. Whereas this just sets you essentially are resetting your system into an alpha state. And in alpha, that's where you naturally fall asleep. So, all good, really. Unintended consequence of the program, but that's the thing. It's all good, isn't it? Like once you're on the right track, it brings you a lot of benefits that you didn't anticipate.
Well, I never really had any issues sleeping. I've always been, a good sleeper. But I have to say that particularly after the meditations, though, I do sleep. Yeah, pretty much instantly.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you could replicate that every day. Just do a 10-15 minute meditation before you go to bed and set yourself up. I always do a bit of spiritual practice for about half an hour before I go to bed. And it's just, you're saying to your mind, right, work's over, time to switch off, time to relax.
Yeah.
And then naturally, just you drift off very quickly and easily. So
Mm.
yeah, all good really.
Yeah.
We'll see you. Lane's disappeared, so let
Yes.
me know
Yes, I
when
saw
you want to
she.
do next week.
Yeah.
We'll do it Monday, Thursday again. Or? Sure.
I can't do next Thursday, unfortunately. We've got the village where I used to live. We've got a gathering next Thursday, but
Okay.
yeah,
No.
Monday's
Monday,
good.
Wednesday.
Yeah. So Monday's fine. I can do earlier on Monday if Monday afternoon works at 2:30 or 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Can you do Monday evening as well?
I can. Yes.
Okay. Monday evening or Monday afternoon and Wednesday.
And Wednesday, yes, Wednesday evening I can do from about 6 o'clock UK time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do Monday, say Monday afternoon and Wednesday evening. How's that?
Yeah. So Monday afternoon at 3 or 2:30.
Yeah. Yeah. Monday afternoon, 2:30 could work.
2:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah. That's
Wednesday
yeah.
evening. I'll ask Kim what she's doing, but she generally joins once, so if she can join on the Wednesday, that's fine. If she wants to
Yeah.
join on the Monday evening, then I'll switch it to the Monday evening, but I'll let you know.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Okay. And then so for Wednesday, then Jonathan, I can only do from 6, if
Yeah.
that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you
Perfect.
Monday. Have a good
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah. Thank you. You too. Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye for now. Okay, so that is a wrap for today. If you enjoyed that session, why not hit the subscribe button? You'll be notified whenever I go live, which is a couple of times a week. Be able to catch the live stream or the recording. It also helps the channel out, obviously. More subscribers we get, the better. So thanks, I'd appreciate that. And secondly, you can go to lifepool.com. You can see that in the background. Just type in lifepool.com, or there's a link in the comments box below this video where you can click that link and sign up from the link to my Telegram group, where I send out daily inspirational quotes, some comments on it, kind of blog post, similar to what you saw in the beginning of this video. You get something like that every day, along with a lesson from A Course in Miracles, adapted with illustrations. You get access to a mini meditation or breath break to help you practice the lesson. You get access to these live sessions, which you can join for 3 weeks at no cost. Yeah, a lot of stuff is completely free. The Telegram group will always be free. So if this resonated, yeah, why not join it? Go to lifepool.com and just make sure you've got Telegram on your phone. You can install that free on the App Store or Google Play Store if you don't already have it. It's a great messaging app. I believe it's better than WhatsApp. Definitely a better messaging platform. So get it, and yeah, it's not as used mostly by people, so you can just use that for the art of letting go stuff. Okay, so hope you'll do that. Hope to connect with you on the inside of the group, maybe in one of these live sessions soon. And thank you for listening and watching. And I wish you much love, peace, and joy. Namaste, which means the truth in me acknowledges and honors that same truth in you. Peace. Bye for now.